If you don't master your mind will master you. If you don't rule your mind will rule you, right? We've got to remind ourselves we're living in a fast-paced world. A lot of people right now on the planet have a very cluttered up mind, have a very busy mind, have a mind full of a whole lot of problems. These negative thoughts can actually consume you. They can actually ruin your whole mental health. I've been there, but then I found out along my journey that, there is another way. Crucial 13, you are appreciated. Shout out to you.
Yeah, Crucial. I'm hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this. Look at this. This is the city I'm in right now. Okay, subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Please leave a comment and share the video. Now, this video is for people who have a negative outlook on a lot of stuff that end up attracting it into their life because their fear of it and focus on it helps it manifest. And this video is coming by way of Ralph Smart, Infinite Waters Diving Deep. Subscribe to that channel as well. And remember, you are creators, so you can create what's going on in your life. And a lot of us are being taught to create a lot of hell that is attracted to us by just thinking about things in a negative way.
First and foremost, if you look at a battery deep divers, you have positive and negative for a reason. Because life is full of positive and negative electrons. That's just the way it is. Negative thoughts aren't your problem. Let me repeat that. Negative thoughts aren't your problem. What your problem is your labeling of thoughts as good, bad, negative, positive. We're just talking about frequency and vibration.
Now, what he's saying here is if you can look at a negative thing or something that is quote unquote bad, and you can just accept it for what it is instead of dwelling on it and staying in a low frequency about it, it will just pass. You know what I mean? But some of us, we can't get over anything. Something's negative. We put it in our thought. You know what I mean? You're like you put a lot of energy into the negative aspect about it, which keeps that negativity alive. So if you could actually, let these thoughts pass through without any judgment, basically saying, okay, that's fucked up right there, but I'm not about to let it drain my energy. You've heard that before. I'm not going to let this pull me down. That's the attitude you have to keep. That is what he's saying right here. Okay, so whatever negative happens to in your life or anything like that, the best way to keep a high vibration is to figure out how, okay, this thing just bothered me. How do I keep a positive mindset about it? How do I get over this fast so I can just continue? Because we are in a lower state of being, so you're not going to get away from too much negativity, and be perfect. So when you start encountering any negative thing like that, you want to have this positive mindset, like, I'm not going to let that bother me.
We've got to remind ourselves our attitude towards our thoughts are what make them a negative thought or a positive thought. And therefore, it's not the thoughts that matter. It's our attitude towards any thought that we think.
And because you are a powerful creator, you have the power to attract based on the energy you put into your thoughts. Okay, you aren't attracting, just what you want. You're attracting how you feel. So, a lot of people, they look at things, they hate politics. They're thinking about, and I used to be a victim to this, thinking about, the Democrats or the Republic, whatever, thinking about how bad they were. And then it started affecting me because I'm starting to attract it. A lot of people, they hate the police. They think the police are this evil group, and then they attract some crazy shit to happen to them. It just is how it is, because your energy toward them is going to manifest the worst case scenario, because that's where your mind is at when it comes to that subject matter. Your mind is completely focused on the most negative aspect, and you put energy into that motion. So your emotion is energy in motion. So that is going to come right back to you, because you are a powerful creator that put all your focus and energy on something negative. So you created something negative in your life. You manifested negatively. Now, this ain't to say bad don't exist, but it's all about your attitude. Do you want to help that bad manifest, or do you want to neutralize that and alchemize it and basically turn a negative into a positive by saying, I'm not going to let that bother me? Yeah, the world is a scary place, but I'm going to make my world a better place. Okay? Because once you start focusing on something more righteous and positive, and you say, you know what? There's bad people like that, but there's also good people like that. You're going to manifest that instead of the bad side. You see, this is actual spirituality.
A lot of people think the worst case scenario. They're always thinking about what could go wrong. This is where a lot of negative thinking emanates from. The worst case scenario. You wake up saying, oh my gosh, this day is going to be terrible. Oh my gosh, my relationship is going to get worse. Oh my gosh, I don't have enough money to put food on the table. Oh my gosh, I'm not where I want to be. Oh my gosh, right? The worst case scenario. Paranoia. You have to start moving into pronoia. I wake up every single day knowing the whole universe is working in my favor. I wake up every single day with a mindset to say, hey, let me imagine it going right.
And this is how these energy vampires work against us, because they will show on TV all day negative stuff to make you start believing, dang, this is really reality. So I don't blame a lot of people for thinking the worst case scenarios are bad stuff, but it's them using your own manifestation power against you. They get you to visualize it, and then they get you to realize it, which you're putting it into action. So if you know the universal laws and God's laws, you know that anything you ask for, whether it be good or bad, you're going to get. You're just that powerful of a being. So if you're being tricked into asking for negative things to happen to you by, basically they put the image in your head, now all of a sudden you're like, oh man, this world is fucked up. You're going to attract it right to you. Okay, so stop waking up talking about how bad the world is, how bad the politicians are, how bad the police are, how bad the crackheads are, how bad whoever it is that you have a right to feel like some of this stuff is negative. But when you're dwelling on it and you're letting that govern your world, and you're letting that be the only idea of these people in your mind, that is what you're going to attract. That's why when I see somebody bad now, I automatically tell myself, you know what, there's a good version of that. even with a person, I'm telling myself, you know what, that person actually does have a good side. He's just not showing it right now. So then that negative manifestation doesn't have any space in my world. Okay, he can go ruin somebody else's world, but I'm not going to let it affect mine. You know what I mean? So, God, the way God in the universe works is, this is why a lot of people catch hell on the planet, because your wish is their command. So you are being tricked into asking the universe for your own hell. Okay, you have to be very careful with these energy vampires. They knew how to manipulate you to ask for your own hell. Okay, remember they always say in the movies, you got to let the devil in, let the devil in. Well, the best way to let the devil in is to ask God, hey, can you please let the devil in my house? Okay, how are you asking God that? Because you're sitting there dwelling on negative shit all day. You're only letting your energy going toward negative stuff. and you know how I always told you connect with God through the heart space. So if inside your feelings, you're focused on these feelings, your emotions, your energy and motion is just gonna manifest that. Okay, so and then what do I always say? Start focusing on positive shit. Start only focus on things you want to happen in your life. Let me say that again. Only focus on things you want to happen in your life. Why? Because what you focus on grows and manifests. What you focus on is what you manifest. Not what you ask God, oh, I hope I do this, I hope, but then you focus on other shit. No, your power is the focus. Okay, your power ain't the words. The words can invoke and help build your character and your energy to where you start putting focus into things, but that's surface level. You have to start focusing, okay?
Let me think about everything working out. So amazingly, all of a sudden, those negative thoughts are neutralized. Because I'm not focusing on bad things happening when they haven't even happened. Have you noticed that, deep dives? Like, a lot of people with negative thoughts are thinking about something that hasn't even happened yet. Oh my gosh, that's deep, right? So negative thoughts emanate from your imagination, these scenarios you're playing out in your mind of what could go wrong here, what could go wrong there, and then you actually create a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then you actually create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
A self-fulfilling prophecy. Had to replay that a few times. Okay, you're not a victim. Okay, everything, you're in control of everything. You're the master of this. Okay, God gave you the tools to where it's like, okay, you're working your way back up to this high level. You have to do it. You have all the tools. It'll be easier without energy vampires constantly tricking us and shit, tricking us into manifesting bullshit. But it is at the end of the day, your fault. Okay, now I don't care what the TV said. Oh, the TV said the police bad. The TV said Joe Biden did this or Donald Trump did this. I don't care what the TV said. You could turn that off. Okay, we know now that there are people who only want us to fulfill these prophecies against ourselves, who want us to create and manifest our own hell. Okay, so now that you know that, it's on you to actually start focusing on stuff that's positive. Because if you're always focused on something negative, you always want drama, you always want, to see fights, you always want to see gossip, you always want to tune into something terrible, you always want to engage in something terrible. I don't understand if you're manifesting hell in your life. I don't understand how that's anybody's fault other than your own. And the reason why I can't understand that is I know the universal laws. These are real universal laws. This ain't that as above, so below, I get to be wicked and righteous at the same time bullshit. We're talking about real universal laws, how to actually, conquer the lower self, how to conquer the demons, to defeat energy vampires. That is universal laws. Stop focusing on crap all day. And then when what you do is when you're focusing on this crap, you need somebody to dump your crap onto. So what you'll do is blame a whole bunch of other shit that doesn't fall in line with your belief system and say they're the problem. And then guess what you do? You manifest that. For example, you might not believe in religion or something like that, and I'm spiritual, but you might not believe in religion. You might justify why you're lawless and say, man, these religious freaks, they think they're better than everybody and all this stuff. You got that negative image of that person so much in your head that you focus on with the negative emotional energy that you might manifest a terrible incident involving somebody like that. You might bring out the worst type of Christian there is to do something harmful to you. And then because you like to play victim or make excuses, you might say, see, look what he just did to me. That Christians are all bad. When you focused on that version of a Christian. And that's just one example. You know, what you focus on is gonna happen. And just because you drew that type of person to you, you know, doesn't mean that every one of them are like that. You know, and these be the same people that are victim-minded in their own mind. So saying like a person that's not really following the universal laws, or, you know, people in the hood or something like that, you could point out the bad these people do all the time, and then they might defend themselves and say, well, we're all not like this. Well, you got to keep that mindset about people you don't like either. So you knowing that you're all not the same. You're not the same as the guy who went and robbed the old lady. You're not the same as the murderer. You're not the same as the rapist. You're not the same as whatever. You have to apply that with the people you don't like either. They're not all the same. So you focus on that good version of them, so you don't manifest that negative version. Like if I was walking around just constantly thinking, oh, these people in the hood are all evil and all that stuff, I'm going to attract that. No, I have to know in my mind, everybody's not like that. Everybody is not like that. Okay, you have to keep telling yourself, focus on the positive, see the good side in people. They don't say this for no reason.
So you've got to remind yourself that your negative thoughts has a whole lot to do with your attitude, okay? Because that influences your feelings, which produce your thoughts. And we have to learn how to lose our mind and come to our senses. In other words, be present. And the more that you can learn to be present, the more there are no more negative thoughts.
And this is what I'm learning right now and practicing is mindful, not mindful like Ralph Smart says, mindful, putting your mind on something, you know, constructive, creative, rather than sitting around letting thoughts just bury me. You know, because the more you sit around, you're just scrolling on your phone, doom scrolling, what they call it, the more you're going to be fed this negative frequency shit. That you're just going to be like, oh my God, that's bad. Look at this. Look what they did to Donald Trump today. Look at this. Look at what they're doing in South Africa with the white people, killing white people. Like, it's like, even though that's happening and there's bad stuff that's happening, there's also good stuff that's happening. You can't change the world. Okay, you can't, if you're not going to be a righteous person, I damn sure ain't going to believe you when you're running around, oh, this person did this bad, this person did this bad, we can't stop until it's all fixed, but you're not fixed. Even if you are fixed, you can't change that. You know, you gotta wait for God to clean this up, which is going to happen pretty damn soon. Okay, there's going to be a major cleansing on the planet and a big storm coming through. Okay, so whatever you're justifying, you're doom scrolling. A lot of people just justify their attraction to negativity by saying, oh, well, if you don't care about this, you ain't a good person or something like that. No, you only care about it because you're a negative person. Okay? Good people do not want to focus on negative shit all day. I know that for a fact. I remember being a kid and being around like certain cousins of mine, and I used to like getting in trouble. They used to like be like, dude, I don't even want to go by that. That's trouble over there. Now, what your guys' thinking would have been, oh, your cousin doesn't care about that, so he's a bad person. No, he doesn't want to be around shit. Okay? So it's just that psychology is being present in the present moment, doing something you love to do, being mindful, not mindful, F-U-L-L, mindful at the moment, being in the present moment, not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future, is going to actually help you defeat a lot of this shit, because all we have is the present moment. Okay? Energy vampires like to keep you in the past and in the future, because in the past it has you dwelling on what happened, what you can't change, and in the future it has you thinking terrible thoughts. It has you prejudging. It has you, oh, these people are evil, so no matter what I do today, I can't win because there's people out there out to get me. You're thinking about shit that hasn't even happened yet, like Ralph Smart says. You're thinking about shit that hasn't even happened. Just start doing something. Stop looking for negativity all day. That's all you have to do, because a lot of you are just trying to be toxic. You know, a lot of people just, they enjoy that. You know, instead of just live, be in the current moment. The energy vampires can't latch onto you when you're moving. They can get you though when you're stuck, when you're sitting around doing nothing. Because what do you do when you're not doing nothing productive? You're just doom scrolling. You're just, whose life can I make hell today? Who can I blame for something that happened to me today? Who can I start trouble with? You know, these are gonna set in on you. All right, and like I said before, when you're choosing to be the victim, when you're choosing to be a person like that's looking for negativity, you need to find somebody to dump your excess negativity onto. So you need to look for a dumping ground to say, okay, you're the bad guy, I'm not. Here, you take all my negative energy. Now I can feel better about myself. That's an energy dump. You know, you're looking for energy dumps. So this is why you can blame the system for what happened to you. This is why you can blame the system for why you ain't shit. You could blame the white man for why you ain't shit. You know, you could do all that. Play the blame game. So listen to me carefully. Be present and mindful. Do something you love. And some people might be like, well, I like being negative. Well, this ain't for you then, okay? Get off the channel. All right? But do something you love. And be present. I can't stress that word enough. Be present.
Negative thoughts don't live in the present moment. They only live in the future or in the past. Let me repeat that. Negative thoughts don't live in the present moment. They only live in the past or the future, right? When you can learn to be present and realize all you have is this moment, this is how you begin to neutralize every thought. And you're going to feel amazing because once again, you are rooted in the here and now experience, not the past experience, not the future. Right here, right now. What is happening? Let me focus on my breathing. Wait a second. Let's go, deep divers. Woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Focus on what is happening right now. We call this mindfulness, okay? Mindfulness is when you pay attention to what is going on through your eyes. What are you listening to right now? What are you inhaling? What are you touching right now? And you tune into that 100%, and this will actually clear negative thoughts and bring you a peaceful mind. Is your mind full or are you mindful? There's a difference. You become what you feed your mind. Now, you can feed your mind care, respect, positivity, dreams, discipline, love, laughter, and you're going to have a happy mind. Or you can feed your mind drama, apathy, grudges, envy, bitterness, and you're going to have a negative mind. So what gives you a positive or negative mind is what you essentially feed it, because the mind is like a plant. It only grows based on what you feed it.
And this was a big one for me personally. You know, I've got everything else in life going for me good. You know, I'm eating right. I'm going outside all the time. I'm, you know, getting that sunlight, doing all this type of stuff, being righteous, you know, swatting away temptations. But I'd still find myself tuning in to toxic content on YouTube or on the internet, or, you know, negative movies or stuff like that. You know, and what you feed your mind, it doesn't matter how good you think you are. And say, well, I just want to watch this. Ain't nothing wrong with it. There is something wrong with it. How do I know that? Because I'm practicing against it. I noticed that when I cleared my head of everything else, I seen how toxic that was. I noticed how when I could watch somebody arguing on a YouTube video that I might have an opinion now on it. You know what? Let me tune in on, let me go on up there on the StreamYard or something and give my 2 cents about this. Because, but I wouldn't have had any 2 cents to give if I didn't tune into it. Okay, so now I'm being negative, and it's all because of what I was watching, and knowing that before I even started watching this negative shit, all I was focused on was the good side of life. But now I'm focused on some negative shit, and then we might justify that and say, well, this person did something wrong. You're not wrong for thinking they did something wrong. Yes, I am. You're wrong for being around wrong people, for tuning in the wrong shit. Okay, it's not, life isn't all about yelling at somebody or fucking telling somebody they're full of shit or telling, Yeah, I'm out here justice warrior. I'm about to tell everybody they're wrong. Life is not about that. Okay, that's gonna drain your energy. That's energy vampire material there. Alright? That's why they want us fighting so much, because that low frequency, that anger frequency is what's gonna drain you as well. Okay, they keep you in that low vibration. Go do something productive. Alright, we'll tune into this shit for like hours, and then all of a sudden everybody's mad, everybody's yelling. It's like, holy shit, dude. If you were just out in nature, being mindful and present and being positive, you would see, if you were just on the positive side of this one time, you would look at that shit and be like, whoa, there's some chaos going on. You would just see it. But a lot of y'all can't see it because it's mostly what you're tuned into. So you look at it two different ways now. You look at the toxic stuff, you're so engulfed in toxicity, you're looking at it like, well, toxic, just being toxic for no reason is wrong, but being toxic for a reason is right. That's how engulfed into toxicity you are. But when you start being righteous, you look at it like, no, being right is right, being toxic is wrong. See how simple it is once you simplify life and you start appreciating the simple things in life, breathing and all that other type of stuff, being mindful and, you know, not let negative thoughts sit in your mind. But when you are into the toxic shit, you have to justify it somehow, saying, oh, well, I got a reason I can do this. Now that's how you decipher through it. You know that, and it's just a rabbit hole. You don't want to go down that. You know what I mean?
If you feed it light, it will grow. If you don't, it will wither away. Sometimes you meet someone, they're so cold, you're like, gosh, there's nothing growing here. Sometimes you meet someone, what do we say? We say they're full of life. In other words, their mind garden is blossoming and blooming. That's what we want to do. And these people, you're like, gosh, I want to be around them. Because you realize they've mastered their mind. Negativity doesn't exist there. They transcend that. They neutralize that.
And you know, that's for people that grossly pervert spirituality as this so-called religion that allows negativity to exist with positivity. You know, integrating negativity in a way that means, okay, I could be righteous, but then I got to balance it out by being lawless. That they grossly pervert what as above, so below means. They think it means you got to be good and evil in the same and all this type of shit. No. If you got this far in the video and you still have that impression of spirituality, please, I'm not going to say nothing mean or nothing like that, but come on, man, get a grip of reality here. All right, just you gotta stop giving yourself excuses if you're still thinking on that level because you want to be lawless. All right, this is all about being righteous. This is all about neutralizing your negative side, neutralizing demons, beating energy vampires. This is all about that. So don't let nobody tell you, well, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. I believe that you got to be good and bad at the same time. I know they're fake spiritual people. Them are fake people. Okay? They have no idea what they're talking about. They're no different than the Christians that justify their sins. They're no different than you guys. So do not listen to people like that.
That's when the problem arises. If you're living in that pool of negativity with a negative mind, you're going to have a whole load of problems. And how does this happen? Once again, the negative thoughts only live in the past or in the future. So if you're always ruminating on the past, you're in trouble. Look, a lot of people wake up saying, gosh, I wish I could change my past. A lot of people wake up, they're blaming themselves what happened 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last summer, and they can't get over it. It's playing back in their mind on repeat, and this is what's giving them a negative mind. We have to let that go. We have to say, today's a new day. I'm gonna forgive myself for everything I did in the past. Now I know better.
And that is for the people that justify their wrongs or their sins because you're so ashamed or guilty of something you did that you feel like if you acknowledge it, you're going to be punished forever for it. So you feel like as if you can act as if there's no consequence for it or there's no such thing as right or wrong, that you'll be absolved of it. And you have to forgive yourself. You can't do that because you're going to muddy the waters in the universe, or your universe at least. And then what you're going to do is also blame other people for stuff and then say, see, they did this. See, they did this. They ain't nothing happened to them. You know what I mean? You're going to be constantly looking to expose negativity. And then what that's going to do is have you focus on negativity all day, and you're going to manifest hell constantly. So try to forgive yourself, forgive others, and start focusing on something good.
Did it ever occur to you that energy is contagious? And therefore, it's up to you to every day place yourself in an environment that brings you a better peace of mind. Are you counting problems, or are you counting blessings? Count your blessings. You must count your blessings. You must wake up with gratitude. You must say thank you at least 20 times a day. Make it 30, make it 100. The more you say thank you, every time you say thank you, another negative thought disappears. Stop allowing one thought to control your entire life. Realize a thought is just a passing cloud, and it will disappear if you just let it be.
So yes, this video I hope was a big help to people who think spirituality is just all about accepting that you can't help your negative side, you can't help none of this stuff, you just gotta be good and bad at the same time. You know, and a lot of these spiritual people, fake spiritual people, they think this is some atheism shit where we don't believe in a God or a creator or the universe or something like this. When the real spiritual people, we believe in being righteous. We believe in a God. We believe that the universe is set in motion by God to start guiding people in the right way. We believe angels are coming down here to actually help you once you get on that path. So don't let fake spiritual people tell you that there's no such thing as this or whatever, because after a video like this, I just broke down exactly, by way of Ralph Smart's video, exactly how to stop being negative and low vibrational and demonic, and actually start, confronting that side of you, and stop giving it power and energy, and stop pointing a finger. Everything is righteous. So I don't understand how people could get into spirituality and think, we talk about the fake ones who really don't know nothing about it, but how they could think that, you just got to accept the good and the bad at the same time. And then it's like, you got to balance it out that way. This is a sick perversion of spirituality and religion. This is a very sick, perverted idea made by a person who doesn't want to change their ways. Okay, so all you people that don't want to change your ways, get off my channel, get off my videos, okay? It's not for you. This is for the people that want to walk that righteous, narrow path. And I got love for y'all, man. Please hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, and share the video. This crucial. I ain't woke, I'm up. Peace, love, 13.
Crucial 13, you are appreciated. Shout out to you.
Get crucial. I'm hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this. Look at it. This is the city I'm in right now.